Hello everyone, this is Andrew from Crown Academy of English. Today's lesson is about the words come and go. So watch the video and then do the exercise at the end. So both come and go describe movement from one place to another place. Come. The pronunciation is come. It is a verb. The past simple is came and the past participle is come. Example, I'm coming to the shop. Go. Go is also a verb. Past simple is went. The past participle is gone. Example, I'm going to the shop. So both of these two sentences are grammatically correct. They both describe movement from one place to the shop. So what is the difference? When do we use come and when do we use go? Answer. It depends on the position of the speaker or hearer. And this is what I'm going to explain in detail in this lesson. So the speaker is the person who is speaking. And the hearer is the other person, the person to whom we are speaking. Okay? So let's start with come. We use come for movement towards the speaker, towards the person speaking. So example, this is the context of the example. Jane is the speaker and she's in a shop. Mark is at home. Okay, so they're not together. Jane is in a shop. Mark is at the house. Jane calls Mark on the phone. She says, please come to the shop. Okay, so Jane is the speaker and Mark is at home. Jane is at the shop. So the movement is towards the speaker, towards Jane, who is in the shop. That is why we use come. Okay? We also use come for movement towards the hearer. Okay, so towards the other person. So Mark is now going to reply to Jane. So here's Mark, and he's going to reply. So Mark says, okay, I'm coming to the shop. So Mark is now the speaker. And the hearer is Jane. And the movement is towards Jane, towards the hearer, because Jane is already in the shop. Okay, so the movement is from home to the shop, towards the hearer. And that is why we choose come. Go is wrong in this example, and go is wrong in this example. Okay? So now let's look at go. So we use go for movement not towards the speaker. So maybe away from the speaker or towards somewhere else, but it's not towards the speaker. So this example, Jane and Mark are both at home. They are in the same place, at home. And Jane is talking to Mark. So Jane is the speaker. She says to Mark, please go to the shop and buy some bread. Okay, so Jane is the speaker and they're both at home. And the destination of the movement is to shop. So the movement is not towards Jane. The movement is towards the shop. So we use go. Please go to the shop. Come to the shop here would be wrong. Okay? And we also use go for movement not towards the hearer. Maybe away from the hearer or towards somewhere else, but not towards the hearer. So Mark replies to Jane and he says, okay, I'm going to the shop. And the movement, so Jane is the hearer here. Mark is talking, Jane is the hearer. But the movement is towards the shop, not towards Jane, because Jane is at home. Okay, so the destination is somewhere else, not the hearer. Therefore, we use go. I'm going to the shop. Coming to the shop here would be wrong. It would be a big mistake. Okay, so this is what you really need to learn and understand. This important difference between go and come. So you see, it really depends on the position of the speaker and the hearer. Okay? So let's look at some more examples. Remember, we use come for movement towards the speaker. Jane is in the living room and Mark is in the kitchen. Mark is the speaker and he needs help in the kitchen. So here he is. And Mark says to Jane, please come to the kitchen, I need your help. Okay, so the movement is towards the speaker, towards Mark. And this would be wrong. Go in this example would not be correct. Okay, this is a mistake. And remember, we use come for movement towards the hearer. So Jane replies, okay, don't panic, I'm coming. So this is movement towards the hearer. Mark is the hearer because Jane is talking. Okay? I'm coming. But this would be wrong. This is the incorrect use of going. Don't panic, I'm going. No, that is wrong. Okay, we must use come in both of these examples. Another example. So again, we use come for movement towards the speaker. Mark is at home, and the manager is the speaker, and he's at the office, and he calls Mark at home. So this is the manager. The manager asks, where are you? And Mark replies, I'm at home. So the manager says, please come to the office immediately. Please come to the office immediately. So the manager is the speaker. The manager is already at the office. So the movement is towards the speaker. So we use come. This is correct. But this is wrong. With go, this is not correct. Okay? And so Mark is now going to reply to the manager. And remember, we also use come for movement towards the hearer. So Mark replies. Mark is the speaker and the manager is the hearer. So Mark says, okay, I'm coming. I'll be there in 10 minutes. So the hearer is the manager and the manager is in the office. So the movement is towards the hearer. Therefore, we use come. This is correct. And this with going is wrong. Okay? Now let's look at go in more detail. Remember, it's for movement not towards the speaker. So Jane and Mark are in the living room watching television. So they are in the same place. And there is an open window in the kitchen. So in another room, there is an open window. Jane is the speaker. So Jane talks to Mark and she says, please go to the kitchen and close the window. Go to the kitchen. Okay, so the movement is not towards the speaker because the speaker, Jane, is in the living room. Okay, but the movement is towards the kitchen. Okay, so the movement is not towards the speaker. Therefore, we use go. So this is correct. But come would be wrong. This is wrong. Okay, and we've already seen why. Okay, this is the incorrect use of come. It's grammatically correct, but it is the wrong use. Okay? And we also use go when the movement is not towards the hearer. So Mark replies to Jane and he says, okay, I'm going. So this means, okay, I'm going to the kitchen. And this would be wrong. Okay, I'm coming to the kitchen. No, that is wrong. So this is correct because the movement is not towards the hearer. Mark is the speaker and Jane is the hearer. Okay, but Jane is in the living room with Mark. So the movement is not towards Jane. The movement is towards another room, the kitchen. Therefore, we use go. So this is correct, but come is wrong. Okay? Another example with go. So again, remember that we use it for movement not towards the speaker. So, Mark and the manager are at the office. The manager is the speaker. The manager says to Mark, please go to the airport immediately. Okay, so the movement is not towards the speaker. The movement is towards the airport. The speaker, the manager, is at the office, but the airport is somewhere else. It's over here. So we use go. Please come to the airport immediately is wrong. And we also use go for movement not towards the hearer. So Mark is going to reply and he says, okay, I'm going. So Mark is the speaker, the manager is the hearer. But the movement is not towards the manager because the manager is at the office. The movement is towards the airport, which is somewhere else. Therefore, going is correct. But coming is wrong. Okay, this is not correct. So now let's look at the past tense. All of those examples, previous examples, were in the present tense. So what happens in the past tense? Well, if the movement is happening in the past, then it is the position of the speaker and hearer in the past that is important. Okay, so it is their position in the past that is important. It is not the position in the present. Okay, so the position of the speaker and hearer in the present is not important when we are using the past tense. So let me give you an example. So we use come for the movement towards the speaker and the hearer in the past. So it's important where they were in the past, not where they are now. So, example. Yesterday. So yesterday is the past. Jane had a party at her house. Okay, the party was at her house in the past. And today, to the present, Jane is the speaker and she's talking to Sarah. Okay, but today in the present, they're at the office. Jane is talking to Sarah at the office. And Jane says, 50 people came to my party yesterday. 50 people came to my party yesterday. So why do we use the verb come here? Well, it's because the movement was towards the speaker in the past. So Jane is the speaker, and in the past, well, where was Jane in the past? She was at her house at the party. So the movement, the 50 people, the movement was towards the speaker in the past. Okay, so it doesn't matter, it is not important that in the present Jane is not at home. Do you understand? So Jane today, she is at the office. She's not at her home. But her position today is not important because we are talking about the past. So the perspective changes and we use the verb come. Jane does not say 50 people went to my party yesterday. That would be wrong. Okay. And Sarah replies, yes, it was a great party. I am glad that I came. I am glad that I came. Not, I'm glad that I went. Why? Because the movement was towards the speaker and the hearer in the past. In the past, Sarah was at Jane's house. Okay, and the hearer was also at Jane's house. Jane was also at her own house at the party. Okay, so the movement was towards the house in the past. So that is why we choose the verb come. So I came is the past simple form of come. Okay, I am glad that I went would be wrong. Okay, it is not important where Sarah and Jane are today. That is not important. So the future is similar. So if the movement is in the future, then the position of the speaker and hearer in the future is important. And the position of the speaker and hearer in the present is not important. Okay. So we use come for movement towards the speaker and hearer in the future. So if you like, we are anticipating future movement. Okay, we are forecasting it. So, example, Jane is the speaker and she's talking to Sarah, and they are both in an office in Manchester, in the north of England. So Jane says, I will be in London next week. So I will be in London next week. So in the future. Will you come to visit? Will you come to visit? Okay, we don't say, will you go to visit? Or are you, yes, we don't say, will you go to visit? We say, will you come to visit? Will you come to London? We don't say, will you go to London here? Why? Because the movement towards the speaker is in the future. Okay, in the future, the movement will be towards Jane in London. Okay, Sarah will go from Manchester to London and Jane will be in London. So the movement is towards the speaker in the future. Okay, it is not important that Sarah and Jane are together in Manchester today. Okay, that is not relevant. And Sarah replies, yes, I'll come on Wednesday. She doesn't say, yes, I'll go on Wednesday. She says, no, I'll come on Wednesday. So why come? Because the movement is towards the hearer in the future. So the hearer is Jane. Sarah is speaking. The hearer is Jane. And Jane in the future will be in London. Okay, so the movement is towards the hearer. So we choose come. Okay. It sounds confusing, I know, but you very quickly understand the difference, and you'll very quickly start to use it correctly. But it's important to understand this principle of the projected movement, where the movement will be in the future. Okay. The future tense, another example. Jane is the speaker, and she's talking to David in the office. Jane says, "I'm having a party at home tomorrow. Do you want to come? Do you want to come?" She doesn't say, "Do you want to go?" So why? Why does she say, "Do you want to come?" Well, it is the anticipated movement towards the speaker in the future. The party is tomorrow. And so tomorrow, Jane will be at home at the party. So the movement will be towards Jane in the future. So we choose come. And David, in fact, says no. He says, "No, sorry, I'm going to a football match tomorrow." Okay, he doesn't say, "I'm coming to a football match tomorrow." He says, "I'm going." And he chooses going because the movement is not towards the hearer in the future. Okay, the movement is towards a football match, which is not the hearer. Okay, so we choose going. So, summary. So just a final reminder before the exercise. So just listen to this summary, and then there is an exercise for you. So come, we use it in two situations. One, for movement towards the speaker. Example, Jane says, "Please come to the shop." And two, for movement towards the hearer. So Mark replies to Jane, "Okay, I'm coming to the shop." And we use go for all other movements. So in other words, for number one, for movement not towards the speaker. Example, Jane says to Mark, "Please go to the shop and buy a newspaper." And Mark replies, "Okay, I'm going to the shop." And so this is an example of movement not towards the hearer being Jane in this example. Okay, so this is what you really need to remember. Okay, so now I have an interesting exercise for you, something a little bit original, I think. So Mark asks you the following question. Mark says, "There is a party at the office tomorrow. Will you be coming? Will you be coming?" So read this sentence very carefully. Read the question and the choice of words very, very carefully. And then answer my two questions. So my question one is, will Mark be at the party tomorrow? Yes or no? And question two, how do you know? How do you know? So yes or no, will Mark, this person, is he going to be at this party? Yes or no? And tell me, how do you know? And write your answers below this video. So it's an interesting exercise because there is a hidden message in the question. And I want to find out if you understand. Okay? So that's the exercise. And that's the end of the video. So thanks for watching, and here are some other videos which I recommend you watch.